Panic in Moscow. The date for the attack on Europe has been announced. NATO is coming. Dear citizens of the human world, residents of tormenting Ukraine, I am making an appeal for peace on the human world. Premier Tusk, Prime Minister of Poland. Russia could attack NATO in a few months and the United States might not come to help. Are we alone? Are we alone? Russia could attack NATO in a few months and there are no longer years, there are months. These words of Prime Minister Donald Tusk on April 24, 2026 shocked Europe. Is Poland ready to be a frontline country without guaranteed United States support? Premonition of war. Donald Tusk warned that Russia could attack NATO in just a few months. The key question is whether Article 5 will work without United States support. Paris nuclear response. French Rafale fighter jets have been placed on alert. Paris hints at the possibility of retaliatory strikes if the Kremlin crosses red lines. While Putin's support is declining, even according to Kremlin sociologists, the development of a genetic anti-aging drug has been announced in the Russian Federation. It appears the Kremlin is preparing for eternal rule. These are the key facts of the day without unnecessary words. This is not the most important news from around the world in a nutshell. Tusk warns of a Russian attack in just a few months. Ukrainian intelligence services have suspended recruitment in Russia. NATO in Trump's crosshair. The United States is preparing penalty for bad allies. Paris nuclear response. French preparing to strike Russia. Money is exchanged for reforms. Details of the European Union loan for Ukraine has been announced. Polish-American relations in trouble. Tusk under fire from Washington. No more Tusk. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Trump's call of NATO a paper tiger and Russia's red lines. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov responds to Donald Trump's comments calling NATO a paper tiger, addressing the growing tensions within the alliance and the broader geopolitical landscape. Speaking at the diplomatic forum in Antalya, Turkey, on April 18, 2026, Lavrov discusses internal divisions within NATO, dispute between the United States and Europe, and the potential emergence of new political blocs. He also warns about Russia's red lines, Western pressure on neighboring countries, and the risk of escalation involving Ukraine. Lavrov outlines Russia's approach to alliances, contrasts it with Western strategies, and comments on the changing dynamics of global power, including the potential shift of the United States' attention towards China. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping. His remarks provide insight into Moscow's perception of NATO's future and the risk of a further confrontation. United States Senator Marco Rubio issued a stark warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin over the dangerously escalating tensions between Washington and Moscow, signaling a potential shift in United States foreign policy. Speaking on the Senate floor, Rubio declared that any further aggression by the Kremlin would be met with grave and unprecedented consequences, placing Putin on high alert. The senator's pointed remarks raised questions about the next steps for President Donald Trump's administration amid the complex United States-Russia relationship, with global markets and allies closely monitoring the White House's response to this direct challenge to Russia's actions and growing threat to international security. What was Prince Harry's visit to Ukraine like behind the scenes? Harry recently arrived in Kiev by train from Poland. Royal editor Chris Shipp and royal expert Lizzie Robinson are the only television journalists allowed into Ukraine to cover Prince Harry's secret trip. During his visit to Ukraine, Harry followed in the footsteps of his mother and her work with the Hello Trust. Harry visited an active minefield in Bucha, imitating Diana's actions in Angola in 1997. Harry was also very outspoken during his trip, calling for American leadership in the conflict, which some called a veiled attack on President Trump. He also directly called on Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war. In an exclusive interview with Chris Shipp, Harry said he will always be part of the royal family. 6 years after leaving the United Kingdom with his wife Meghan, Prince Harry says, "I am not a politician, I am a soldier, appealing for help for Ukraine." The Duke of Sussex told the Trump administration that this was a moment to demonstrate its ability to honor its international treaty obligations. He was invited to deliver the opening remarks at the Kiev Security Forum, which is being held despite the ongoing Russian attacks on Ukraine. Prince Harry delivered the message directly to the two presidents, Trump and Putin, regarding the war in Ukraine. He spoke in Kiev at the beginning of an unannounced visit during which he is meeting with senior members of the Ukrainian military and some of the thousands of soldiers who have been seriously wounded in the conflict. He also defended his visit to Ukraine, saying that he is not here as a politician, I said. The Duke of Sussex was invited to deliver the opening speech, and he told the Russian president that there is still time to stop this war. After years of this war, Harry told President Putin, with enormous losses and limited gains, it is becoming increasingly clear that this path offers no victory, only further losses. He added, President Putin, no nations will benefit from the continued human losses we are witnessing. He delivered his speech hours after disembarking from an overnight train from Poland and arriving at Kiev Central Station at 8 a.m. to Kiev from Poland. The prince did not mention Donald Trump by name, but said he had a message for American leaders. Harry said the United States, his adopted country, plays a unique role in the conflict because when Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons, America pledged to protect Ukraine's borders and sovereignty. He addresses the Trump administration. This is a moment for American leadership, a moment when America can demonstrate its ability to honor its obligations under international treaties, not out of charity, but because of its enduring role in global security and strategic stability. Harry will take on responsibility related to the Invictus Games Foundation, which he founded after leaving the British Army. And a staggering number of Ukrainian soldiers have suffered life-altering injuries, tens of thousands of them. Harry will also witness the work of the Hello Trust, a mine clearance charity close to his heart because of his mother's work in Angola shortly before her death. Prince Harry addresses the war in Ukraine directly to both presidents, Trump and President Putin. The universe doesn't build a house for humanity. It's built a trap, an ambush, a prison. Rob Shutter, a British-American celebrity journalist, joined NewsNation Prime to discuss King Charles' visit to the United States this week with his wife, and whether the British monarch will meet with his son, Prince Harry, who lives in California. We must pray for this reason, at any occasion, for peace, in order to be free as a Christians.